All right, welcome everyone to Growth School. Welcome tonight to Growth School. And I want to appreciate you for joining us tonight. Thank you for joining. Thank you for following through each series and each time Growth School sessions come up. And it was really an amazing time last week when we started a series on Kingmakers. We shared some very amazing and insightful moments on wow kingmakers are important, how you can discover them, and how you can harness their roles in your destiny. Thank you so much for joining. Please do well to drop in the comments your name and where you are joining from. It will be a delight to know you and to also appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining. It has been a really amazing and really great moment having to do this with you. And I know for those who joined last week, the Kingmaker Part 1, it was really an amazing time. You can testify, and you're very, very sure that you're able to use some of the things that were shared and you are able to apply them to your life. Please do well to share the link, just the exact link that brought you here. You can do well to share the link on every of your platforms and every of the people you would have in your network as we delve into the topic on Kingmakers Part 2, positioning for your coronation in destiny. How do you position for your coronation in destiny? This is very, very essential, and this would go a very long way to transform your life. If you have friends, you really want to help them, you want to offer them a very, very amazing Christmas gift tonight, just do well, share this link with them, invite them to come join and to be part of this. All right. So, as a mix of recap, I want to start by sharing some of the things we spoke about. We spoke about the fact that you can be very talented, you can be very gifted, you can even have what it takes to become a king, but without the kingmakers, you will not have the privilege and opportunity to arise to your throne. And there's this saying in the book of, I think it's in the book of maybe Proverbs, I can't remember now, where it says that I've seen something happen on the earth. Maybe it's Proverbs or Ecclesiastes, I'm trying to see. It said, I've seen princes walk on foot, and I've seen servants ride on horses. I've seen princes walk on foot, and I've seen servants ride on horses. Now, which means that the fact that you're a prince, the fact that you are born by a king, the fact that you are born into a royal family, does not necessarily mean that you would gain access to the throne. Does not automatically mean that you will become the king. There is this story in the Bible of the son of Saul. Saul was the first king of Israel. He had a son called Mephibosheth. Mephibosheth was taken care of by one of the caregiver that was employed by the king. And he was lame on his feet, and he was not one that had very strong stature. Despite Mephibosheth being a prince, being born by a king, yet he never for once become he did not once become a king in Israel. Even though he was a prince, even though he was born by a king, even though according to lineage and heritage, he was supposed to be the king, but he was never a king because he was not coronated. He was not ordained and announced by the kingmaker. He was not the one that was chosen while everyone was there and they were saying, oh, this is the new king, this person has become king and all of that. He was not chosen even though he was a prince. So that's to let you know that the fact that you are born by a king, maybe for example, you have the privilege where maybe you had parents who did well, they were influential, they did a lot of amazing things. Maybe they even saw wealth, maybe they even saw privileges, maybe they even had a lot of great things in their life. But right now, you are not replicating those things in your life. While because the kingmakers have not contributed to announce you into your place of destiny. And we mentioned critically that kingmakers, they are very, very important in your life. And I shared also that kingmakers are people that you must not fight with. You can't fight them. They are just there. They are made there to become kingmakers. There are certain cultures when if you can't just have your way through to become a king. Sometimes if you try to sit on that throne, you will be killed by the throne because the kingmakers never did the right thing with you. There is this movie, long time movie by Mainframe Corporation. I had the privilege to watch. My dad used to have a lot of movies by Mainframe, Tunde Kilani. I think it was the title of the movie is Koshegbe. And the story comes like this. There was a town being ruled by a civilian ruler. And as they began to go on, the civilian ruler was ruling and everyone was doing so well. The community was going so well and all was happening. Eventually, at a time, they demanded the military support. And as a result of demanding the military support, the military came, helped them to try to calm certain situation. And the head of the military became covetous. He became covetous and he said he wanted to become a king. He fought his way through, did all of the things he could do. The kingmakers reluctantly, so he decided to come up with a ceremony. And no, it was not Koshegbe, I think it was Shaworo there. And in that movie, there was a drum that whenever you are not the rightful ruler, when they beat that talking drum, it's going to affect you. You will not be able to rule correctly. You know why? Because the kingmakers were not in support. As part of your ruling, the person who beats that drum must be one that agrees to your reign. And on the day of the celebration that this military ruler was supposed to be crowned, Immediately, the royal crown came on his head and they started beating that drum. He could not manage. You know why? Because the throne was not rightly his. He was not made for the throne. So kingmakers, they are very, very important as we begin to journey in life. You're talented, you're brilliant, you're smart, you have every accolade, you have a lot of things here and there. If the kingmakers do not ascertain to your rule, you will not be able to reign correctly, or you will not be able to grow in your field. Think of this as even in your field. There are top leaders, there are people whose voices have become an authority, that when people hear their voices, instantly they are able to just say, yes, that's our guy. We are going to give him all he needs, and we are going to ensure that he's the one who rules. So the ability to be able to identify these kingmakers will change your life in some small way. I also spoke about the fact that you need to know these people as your journey in life. You need to know them. And as you meet them, you must maintain relationship with them as you begin to journey onto your throne of destiny. We also said that you should discern every man, that sometimes the kingmakers may not look like it. They may not look very flamboyant. They may not look like, oh, this and that, but they are the one that are ordained to bring you to your throne of destiny. For example, I spoke about my journey, how I had pastors, men of God who were specific, who saw me and said there was something about this guy, and they were giving me privileges, opportunities that was building me to rise into my place of influence. Now, today we'll be looking at how can you position for your coronation in destiny. Right now, there are a number of you right now, you are even saying, oh, how do I even get access to these kingmakers? As I begin to move on and journey, how do I ensure that I can live my life correctly and they can ordain me for destiny? How do I get to that point where I make sure that they fulfill their role, they anoint me, they announce me, and they are able to present me to the world as the one who is meant for the throne? And the first thing which I started mentioning is that you must be sure and deliberate about who you are. The understanding of who you are as a king, as one who owns a throne, as one who has a coronation upon your head, as one who will become great, who will be able to have certain authority that will take you far in your journey of life. As that kind of individual, there is a way you begin to live. There's a way you begin to operate. There's a way you begin to do the things. For example, David was in the bush taking care of the sheep, yet he was taking care of the sheep as a leader. He understood what was upon his life. He knew what he had upon him. And while he knew that way, he was able to live in the right things. For example, your understanding of who you are will determine how you speak, will determine the places you go to, will determine the kinds of friends you keep, will determine the kind of conversation that takes place around you. The understanding of who you are, it begins by a self-awareness, by clear identification of the person that you are. And as you keep living your life on a daily basis, you understand, I am a king. I have authority over my life. I'm called to command things. I'm called to reign. I'm called to rule. This understanding is what will begin to draw these helpers to you. There are places you go to, and by the way you live, the way you express yourself, the way you begin to operate, the way you respond to situations, the way you command certain level of influence, the kingmakers will look at you and they will say, there's something about this guy that I need to contribute to. Something you need to understand is that most mentors don't want to start a work from scratch. Most mentors want to contribute to individuals that have an higher probability of succeeding and excelling. Why? Because in the past, a number of them have tried to do a lot of work, trying to help people, trying to assist them, trying to build them from scratch. But at the end of the day, it yielded no results. So even the people you try to meet and say, oh, mentor me, oh, sir, you are my role model, sir, I look up to you, sir, I do this, they are looking critically to be sure that this person has the potential and possibility to achieve success and result at the end of life. And while they begin to look at that critically, they want to contribute to it. They are looking for a possibility of success taking place through their contribution on certain individuals. And that's why your understanding of who you are will start determining the kind of work you consciously do on yourself. For instance, Esther was a virgin that was chosen to be one of the people who would go for the context for the queenship in the land at that time. You know, King Ahasuerus was a king, and then for certain reason, Vashti behaved in a way they didn't like, and she was stopped from becoming queen, and they needed new queens to show up. What did Esther do? Esther did not go to the palace trying to pick her own policies. She was not trying to tell them this is the way she wants to live here. She was not trying to tell them this is what I want to do. This is what I've always known. She was attached to Agar, one of the servants who kept the queen, and she started listening. She started learning. She was already understanding that she had the authority and royalty on her life, and the things she was learning were things that would give her the possibility of becoming a queen. The truth is, are you aware of who you are? Do you have an understanding of what you represent? Are you in this world making statements like the masses, like other people, without a clarity of the person that you are? There are things that kings don't do. There are words that don't come out from kings. There are places you don't meet kings. When you understand that you're a king, you understand that you're someone who has a measure of grace and possibility of the things you should become, there are certain intentionality that begins to reflect in your life. You need to know who you are. The kingmakers do not want to announce someone who, by the time they speak about you, you disappoint them on the public stage, or you disappoint them when you get to the throne. They are trying to get to the point that the kind of person they can ordain is one that they will not be blamed for eventually. I was sharing something, I think while I was posting, I don't know whether it was on WhatsApp or somewhere else, where I was saying that there is a common movie right now, you know, going around and all of that, Seven Doors. As part of the storylines of that movie, there were kingmakers and there were also chiefs. They had kingmakers, they had chiefs. The kingmakers, usually they would consult their gods. They will consult and try to find out and say, oh, who is good, who should be the next king, who is the person that is chosen by the god, who is the person, and all of that. And the kingmakers got the answer, but the chiefs, because there was another candidate who had money and was giving them money, giving them food, taking care of them, giving them women, and doing all of that, they wanted that person to rule, while they did not know that their power was not as more as the kingmakers. And who eventually was the one who was ordained? The one that the kingmaker chose. You know why? Because the gods usually see certain realities in certain attitudes. They see certain ways of life that they know that when this person becomes king, it's going to affect the nation, it's going to affect the town, it's going to affect the city at that instance. The same way, the kingmakers, when they start seeing that the kind of lifestyle you live and the way you go about the things you do on a daily basis, they know that it will bring reproach to them eventually. They don't even want to get attached with you. So the first thing you need to understand is that you are a king. You have something upon your life that the world wants to honor, that the world wants to appreciate, that the world wants to glorify, that the world wants to say like, oh, this is someone who has kingship upon him. So the power and that ability to understand who you are will change your reality on a daily basis. Most of the things you don't have and you crave for, they are not drawn to you because of your lacking understanding of who you are, because of your lacking understanding of what you represent. That's why you've seen people who have lost great people in their life, they've lost amazing mentors in their life, They have lost amazing opportunities in their life. They have lost certain things in their life. Why? Because they don't have a courage, an aura that reflects that they know who they are. You are not your background. You are not what you've been through. You are not the circumstances going on in your current environment. You are actually who God says you are. You know what who God says you are? He said, "Ye are kings and priests unto our God." That understanding will make you live with a difference on a daily basis. Will not make people find you in certain conversations. Will not make people see you in certain places. Will not make you speak in certain ways you should not speak. Ye are kings and priests. And you know what God is? He said, God is the King of kings. So you are actually a king. Do you know who you are? Your understanding of who you are is what will start position you, not the things you do, not firstly the things you do, not going there, reading this book, reading that book, doing all of those things. You can read all the books, but if you are not aware of who is reading that book, they would end up as wasted knowledge. They will end up as wasted knowledge. So number one is be sure and deliberate about who you are. Number two is that you have to create value and exhibit excellence in all that you do. You have to create value and exhibit excellence in all that you do. You need to ask yourself, before the kingmakers and the people who are the voices of your industry, who are the voices of the place you are, who are the people that people listen to, before they will present you, they are asking the question, what value are you currently providing? What value are you currently providing? That's why I do not encourage people who have never created value to come out and push out themselves for leadership position. Until you have started creating value, you will not be an authentic leader. You will not be an authentic leader. You will become an usurper. Why? Because you personally don't have value, so you need position. You need position to prove a point that you have something inside of you. You need to create value. What value are you creating? When I speak about value, I'm talking about the fact that what are you giving that people appreciate? What does your life speak to people around you? When people come in contact with you, do they leave you and say that was valuable and impactful? When you meet a stranger and you hold a conversation for 5 minutes, what aura do they leave with when you are done speaking with them? What value do you provide? Whether you are someone who wants to start a business, what value do you provide? Right now, there are people who want to become authority, but they are impacting no one currently. Yesterday, I was in a webinar where I was speaking about growth, and I said that you should never envy someone who has something that you have not grown into. You know, a lot of funny things happen in life. You see someone who say, is she the only one? She's the one doing this. He's the one doing that. He's the one doing all of that. That person has that level of result because he or she has grown into it. If there is any result you desire in your life, what you have to do is to grow into it. The moment you grow into it, you are able to sustain that level of growth and impact. But when you have not grown into it, you will soon lose those things that have come into your life. So what you have to do is to create value. What value are you creating? What impact are you making in your immediate environment? Who are you contributing to? Who are you helping grow? Whose burdens are you making become less? Who are you trying to help become better? Who are you giving a better reasoning to life? You create value. You want those kings to ordain you, to bring you to the point of coronation and to announce you to your word, or to present you to an audience that have trusted them over time. You need to create value. Stop desiring to come on a stage when you have not grown to that level of value. Right now, maybe you're doing little things and you are not doing it excellently. You say, oh, is it not just coming out to speak or coming out to moderate a program? You just come do it shabbily, you don't prepare. As an undergraduate student, I remember those times when I'm told, oh, you are the one that will moderate this program today. It may be a midweek service, it may be a Sunday service. I will prepare as if it's an exam. I will sit down, write the things, know how to construct the English, begin to analyze how I want to give the announcement. I will begin to know how I want to welcome first timer with excitement. I'll begin to prepare. I will pray and begin to ask God for help. Sometimes I will even fast because of it, just to moderate a service. And I never knew that God was building and raising me for something more. And the ability to provide those things excellently will make the kingmakers, remember I spoke about some kingmakers, will make those kingmakers to call me to do it again. And then they gave me access to an audience I would never have had the privilege to meet, who began to see that there was something about this guy. Do you do the things you do with excellence? Some of you right now, you make a post and you just put a blurry picture. You don't care how nice it looks. And the kings are folding their hands. They are looking at you and saying, but we thought this your post, it makes sense. But this your picture, it did not match the kind of post you have made. You do everything with excellence. You are going out for a program. You are invited to come and maybe attend. You dress well, because at that event may be where your kingmakers will come. You don't just go there and just appear and say, let me just dress. Oh, that's the way I am. You come at your best. Whether you are speaking or not, whether you are the one that is going to be given the mic to do anything, you may go there and ask a question. And through that question, you have an international opportunity. I have a mentor, like a senior, someone I call like an Egbon, who holds an amazing program, one of the largest campus program at that time. This, when he was sharing his story with us at the time, he said there was somebody abroad he always looks up to. He looks up to the person in the area of broadcasting and all of that. And he went to that event, came out, he asked question, and he was like, "Oh, can you mentor me?" Fantastic. That was how this person invited him to the US. Just by going for an event, appearing excellently, and at that time he has worked on his intonation. He could speak nicely. He prepared for that level of excellence. He was able to portray himself with an high degree that enabled his acceptability. Maybe the reason why your kingmakers are rejecting you is because you are not valuable and you are not excellent enough. If you're a student here and you're listening to me, don't let anyone tell you that having an excellent result is not important. That may be your key to what will make the kingmakers bring you to a table. There are places you will step into that will never match your background, and people will look at it and say, how did you get in here? Your background does not look like it, but you know why? You offered value consistently. You were offering value to people. Imagine me coming right here, I'm speaking, sharing all of these things, bringing in the lessons, bringing examples, sharing it with you. It's touching your heart, it's impacting you, it's touching you. Who knows, someday a king will watch this video and say, this guy is making sense. This guy has been doing this for a long time, and he's coming out and he's showing up excellently. He's giving value all the time. And then somebody will say, oh, we want to bring you up to a stage to speak. What value are you offering? Don't just, yes, I know it's good to pray, and I want the destiny helpers to come. I want the people who speak about me. I want my announcers to show up. But what value are you offering? What value are you offering? What value are you offering the world? Are you just sitting in your house and all you're doing is something to fend for yourself? You are not giving value that will make people speak about you so massively and say you are the one that must get this spot. What value are you offering? And who exactly are you offering this value to? What value are you offering? There was a time that the value that Joseph was offering was to the house of Potiphar. There was another time the value was offering was to the prisoners who were in the prison. But a season came that over time, while he was becoming a valuable person, he was doing it excellently, the king had to call for him. The king had to call for him. And you know, when a king called for you and announced you, your life has changed forever. That was how he became a prime minister in a strange land. Many times, the land you are in is not the problem. The land you are in is not the problem. The problem is really that you are not offering any value in that land. Create value and then be a person of excellence. Be a person of excellence. Intentionally, at certain seasons in my life, my dressing had to start changing. All right? My partner was always telling me, guy, this way, look this way for this event, go out this way for this event. And it was making sense. It was making sense. Don't say it's not about the way the container means. It's actually the content that is important. Even the container and the content is important too. Don't judge a book by the cover. It's okay now. Go to the bookshop and just get any book. Why do you get books? Because the cover page is fantastic and amazing. Offer value and do everything you do with excellence. You are writing a book, write with excellence. Don't just write and say, oh, it's my friends I'm writing this book for. They are the ones that will read it. What if that book got to the hands of kings? Will you be delighted with what they will read out of your book? What if that webinar, what if that course you are putting up, what if that session is converted into something that the kings receive? Will they appreciate what you deliver? And the kingmakers are watching. They are watching. The moment you don't care about how you deliver things, you are going to lose the ordination and coronation to your throne of destiny. The question is, do you want to be a prince who is walking on barefoot? Or you'll be like that servant who was trained and found favor before the kingmaker and he was riding on horses. Number 3, keep developing yourself intentionally. Keep developing yourself intentionally. While you are waiting for the arrival of the kingmakers, while you are waiting for the announcement, while you are waiting for the ordination, while you are waiting for your coronation, keep developing yourself intentionally. Keep working on your speaking. Keep working on your social skill. Keep working on your giftings. Keep sharpening your giftings. Keep sharpening your words, the way you speak, the way you combine words together. Start working on your writing so that the day the kingmakers will invite you and they will send you an email and say you should write to them, they won't read your email and believe and feel like, what did I just read? Right. Sorry. Third world internet. Okay, so I said certain people don't get accepted by their kingmakers, don't get supported, don't get the level of things that their gifting should receive because they do not develop themselves. Because they don't develop themselves. Are you reading books? All right, welcome back. Sorry, third world internet. Okay, so like I was saying, I said most people are not intentional about their gift. Now, there is this part of the Bible that says, fear thou a man who is diligent in his business, he shall stand before kings, he shall not walk with mean men. He shall stand before kings. It means there is a level of diligence that is demanded in sitting and dining with kings. You know the people who dine with kings? Kings like them. You know the people who sit with kings? Kings like them. You have to be intentional about continually developing yourself. Don't keep saying, oh, I'm not the one that you know how to speak. Oh, me like this, he pay, make I die, and make I go speak for public. Stop saying such statement. Stop going about saying such statement. It's learnable. You can take trainings. I took a training, I think this was 2020, on public speaking and communication. Training, virtual training, I think it was during COVID. I took another refresher course on it again. Public speaking, very important. I bought a course on storytelling. You have to be intentional about developing yourself. The moment you know the kinds of throne you want to attain, you should start preparing yourself, building yourself, intentionally developing yourself in the things that will make you get there faster. Don't be like the average person who say, it's not really like that. Or if God wants to make me have this thing, or let me have it. That's not a statement that kings make. Kings ask, what do I need to get this thing? And then they start preparing, they start developing themselves, that even when your kingmakers see you, they have no choice than to ordain you. They have no choice than to ordain you. Number 5, you need to reflect deeply before you comment widely. I'm going to touch some tables here quickly. You need to reflect deeply before you comment widely. Someone who wants to become a king, who wants to be ordained as a king, there are certain posts you should never be found commenting on. There are certain posts you should never be found commenting on. You know this one that is prayer, huh? Social media. Is it not my social media account? Can't I just post what is my own there? Let me just post what I want to post and there. And when I do that now, it did not concern anybody. You know this statement? What's that statement? We listen, we don't judge. I pity you. I pity you. You would not be aware that your kingmakers are looking at you. They come to the kinds of comments you made, and they are disappointed because they know what you carry, and they don't think that you should be found making such statements. You need to reflect deeply before you comment widely. You know, people who have tried to delete some of the comments they made some long time ago. They wish they could delete them, but it's now way gone. Many people have saved those things that were said. You know why? Because they don't create time to reflect deeply. Sometimes you should just see a post and just smile about it, but let your name never be found with such post. Yes, you say it's for fun. You are just laughing now. I can't we just be happy and catch crows and all of that. But the kings who are looking at you, and they are like, wait, this person, we thought this person had sense and can accommodate sitting on a throne. We never knew there is this part, this half-witted aspect that we don't want to be tagged amidst the people that we know. You need to reflect deeply before you comment widely. There are some posts that they must not find your name on. Like, for example, someone is talking about in these things, in relationship, and sometimes if the guy misbehave, just bone the guy and then just say this one and go and live your life. And as women know, it's not important to do this one, and that one, and that one, and that one. And he just went and said, yes, nice post. You are making sense. Go for it. The day your kingmakers will vet you and check you up, and they see the kinds of things you have posted and commented on, they would say you are not fit for the throne. Some of you don't know. Right now, you're trying to talk about certain things happening in politics. You are putting your mouth. You don't have results. You have not grown value in any aspect, and you're just talking and putting your mouth and saying everything. The day they will look for young, bright minds, you know the way they built qualification for Daniel and his colleagues, those what do they call them at that time? Those children of Judah who were taken captive, and they were looking for qualification. Those who could speak Chaldeans, those who were brilliant, those who were smart, those who were this, those who were that. That's how they will bring a qualification and just say, oh, maybe those who have never made dumb statements about the politics they didn't understand, the history of the nation they didn't understand. Oh, we are sorry, we can't give you this. We can't give this kind of person this position. You have to reflect deeply before you comment wide. Don't make comments because you want to show up that you have something to say. Reflect deeply about it first. Think about it in the current time and in the future. And in your thinking about it, you are also asking yourself, in the near future, if something changes about me, if this is not where I am, if I'm in a more privileged point, will I make this comment I'm about to make? Don't make comments from the state of your depravity. Make comments from the position of your royalty. I'll say that again. Don't comment on things from the state of your present reality or from your depraved state. Make comments from an ideology of your royalty. That, oh, how will kings comment on these things? How will kings view these things? How will kings look at these things? There are certain things that you should not even let it show that you saw it. Sometimes just mind your business. Go about building yourself and getting ready for your throne. When you step into your throne, there are certain decisions you can start making. I want to read comments. Wow, Ronke, nice to see you. Ronke, been a while. Yeah, you need to reflect deeply before you comment widely. Amazing. Lois says, yeah. Reflect deeply before you comment widely. Don't just go here, comment there, comment there. You know, a lot of things are happening on X, a lot of things happening on Instagram, a lot of things happening here and there. And you'll see certain young people who have not really seen life, who should dig their head into knowledge and understand how to take their life to the next level. They are commenting on everything. They are talking about everybody. They are speaking about certain people from a basic understanding without really reflecting deep on the things they are talking about. You know, there are conversations that should happen just in your little circle. There are conversations that should not be taken outside of there, because your kingmakers may just view, they may just be scrolling, and they just come in contact with you. They look at your profile like, this is a nice profile, this is an amazing guy. Let me check up on some of the activities she has done online. And they say, oh, no. We wish you were not the one that made that comment. You need to reflect deeply before you comment widely. Look at David. I want you to really study David. And now you would understand why David actually qualified to be a king. When Saul was still on the throne and Saul hated him and Saul was trying to kill him, he was trying to do everything, he was trying to do that, he was trying to do this, there was no time once that David ever spoke evil of Saul. Even though he was anointed, the priest came, anointed him, poured the oil, and said, you are the next king of Israel. After all that Saul did, there was nowhere publicly that you will find out that David made a wrong statement about Saul. Imagine if that was you. Imagine what you'd have done today. I know what some of you would have done. You will go to Facebook. Help me, because of they seen that I'm the one that is going to rule, they are after my life, people come and help me, you will on YouTube live and you start shouting, this king, this star, and that one, and you be talking, and you be saying everything. They want to finish me, see what he did, he brought the stairs here, they want to finish me, I came to his house, I was playing this thing, and the devil was living, and you be talking, yeah, and someone will just look at you and say, this guy is not wise. Someone will just look at you and say, this guy did not have sense. And he would have died without stepping into the throne. Do you know people like that who died before the time of their coronation? Do you know people who had bright future, who would have succeeded and excelled? Comment that they should never have made was the reason why they died before stepping into their throne. You need to reflect deeply before you comment wisely. Sometimes there are even Instagram lives that they should not even see your name in. There are Instagram lives, they should not see your name, that they should not even see your name that you were there. You have to reflect deeply. Sometimes just ask yourself, this webinar, is it meant for me? Should I be there? Am I the one that should really comment? Am I the one that should really talk about these things? And it's not that you are intimidated. It's only that you have chosen to be wise. You have chosen not to be like the masses. You have chosen to think like a king. I'll say it again. Think like a king. Think like David. Think like a king. Think like David. Think like Joseph. Think like a king. You know what Joseph did? Joseph did not go and open live when he got to Potiphar's house. And he was not talking about his brother. My brothers, they did this. So he was not mentioning an emotion, and say, tag them, share, post, this. Wise Joseph was living his life, building himself. And one day, those brothers were the ones that came to Egypt after he has become the vice president, when he has become the prime minister. They came to Egypt, they were looking for food. And he didn't even tell them everything they did until the second time they came. Until another time when they came. That's why King reigned, and that's why such men lasted in their time. What's the assurance that you will last when the crown comes on your head? It's about how you think deeply, how you reflect deeply before you comment wisely. Reflect deeply before you comment wisely. Write that down. Reflect deeply before you comment widely. The kingmakers, they are watching. They are looking out for stars. They are looking out for individuals. They are looking out for people. Okay, this one has sense. This one is cautious of his words. This one does not talk anyhow. This one does this. And those kingmakers will come and say, we have found young men who are able to reflect deeply and comment wisely. We have found young men who are able to create value. We have found young men who have been developing themselves over time. Oh, the nation will present them to you. These are the ones that will be your king. All right. Number 6, solve the problems of kings. Solve the problems of kings. And lessen the burdens of kings. You want to step into your throne of coronation, solve the problems of kings. For example, you're in a church and you're seeing that, oh, things are not going on well, or maybe the way the service is being moderated is not going well. Walk up to the pastor and say, sir, I'm willing to offer my giftings to ensure that our service have some measure of life and could be better and could increase our result over time. And the man will be watching. Okay, he has come, he's a loyal. Has he come because he has a mission? And then you are solving the problem, they are looking at it, things are improving, they will like you. You have a boss you're working with, and you always find out that he finds it difficult to address things, or sometimes he slows down in doing certain things. There are ways you could achieve it faster with greater result. Push it out. So let me help you do these things, and you'll see there's a better way for which it can be done. Solve the problems of kings. How did Daniel become prominent in Babylon? He solved the problem of kings. The king had a dream. He forgot his dream, or maybe intentionally decided he was not going to share it. And Daniel went to pray. He was given the dream and also given the interpretation. He came back to the king, and the king was amazed. Wow, wonderful. There's something about you guys. And then what happens? His rank increased. He became like a king. He became the president over all of the seers, all of the senators. He became like the Senate president in Babylon. Solve the problems of kings. You need to identify kings. You know, the problem with most people is that when you find kingmakers, or when you find some of these kings, what you're thinking about is what you want to get from them. Oh, give me this. Sir, I need this one, Sir, I want you to give me this. I want to give me this. Sir, this one. Sir, my laptop. Sir, my phone. Sir, I want to get this. Sir, urgent 2K. Sir, my data. Sir, my no. The moment you become a parasite, kingmakers just close the door against you. Kings, they just close the door against you. Kings also have problems. You need to pray, search it out, do your research, do your findings. I'm not going to be here to tell you what the problems of kings are. Solve the problems of kings. Solve the problems of kings. Sometimes you just need to look around. You just need to look around and say, what's this man doing? What's he working on that I can offer my giftings to contribute to? You know the problem? Many of you are becoming stars. A number of people, maybe you're here, maybe you're not here. I don't know. Maybe someone will listen to this later and it will be that person. So don't take it like I'm speaking to you directly. Some of you right now, you are quick to become a star when you would have become a better star if only the kings offered you their platforms. And what you should be doing, solve the problems of kings, let them call other kings to your events, or other kings when you will be showing up and offering your giftings, and then you will see how kings begin to flock around you. Many times the things you struggle about, they are there because the kings in your life are not showing up. And they are not showing up because you have become an usurper, but you are not a contributor who is trying to solve their problems. What problems are you solving in the lives of kings? That's how you position correctly. I know some of these things I'm saying are not things you will hear in other places. And I'm not here to really motivate you. You may be motivated, which is fine. I'm here to tell you the truth that will bring wisdom to your hearts and that will get you to that throne as fast as possible. Solve the problems of kings. Daniel did. At a time, Esther did. You know what Esther did? Esther wanted to solve the problem of the king in that land, in Shushan at that time. And Esther did not go there and say, King, the people, they want to kill us, so they want to kill my people. And there's one man that is, no, he called the king. He looked at it. The king has been busy over time. King, I want to invite you to a banquet. Esther had sense. Esther had sense. Esther was not just fine. She had sense. She had sense. She was not just pretty and beautiful. She was witty. She was witty. Those are amazing ladies. She said, the king will have been busy and all of that. Let me invite him to the banquet. And then she prepared all the delicacies, all the nice things the king will like. She put all the wine, put everything, did all of that, made the king happy. You know how the king will come and like, how did you think about this? And the king was just delighted, was happy and all of that. She didn't ask at that first meeting what she wanted. She said, King, okay, you enjoyed this one, but King, I'm inviting you for another banquet. It was in the second banquet that Esther now told him what she really wanted. You know what some of you would have done? In the first meeting was where you would have downloaded all your problems to the king. And what is it? I thought I came to enjoy myself. You know what she did? She offered value. She solved the problem of the king at that time. And then the king was willing to solve her problem. You want to attain kingship. You want kings to draw you close to them. You want to be close to their hearts. Solve their problems. Lessen their burdens. Take some of the things they are thinking about, that they are worried about, take it away from them and run to solve their problems. That's how kings are. That's how kings are. You remember, I told you that there's a mentor who one of my pastors linked me to. Right now, he has been my mentor for a very long time. Now he's still my mentor. Very amazing personality. I draw a lot of wisdom from. Intentional, I'm not willing to share names, but those who are very close to me, they will know who I'm talking about, because on public platforms, sometimes when you start mentioning names, you see people start chasing them, mentioning your name and say this person talked about you and all of that, especially when you know that these people are private people. When I look out, I'm not like, what problem can I solve for this man? That's what I think about. What problem can I solve? What is he doing that I can contribute to? What are the certain things he's working around that I can be a part of? That's how kings think. And when you do that for kings over time, they want to help you. They want to support you. They want to contribute to your life. They want to ensure that you are making advancement. They want to be sure that you are growing. They want to be sure that you are making progress in various areas of your life. Solve the problems of kings. Never allow, if you're someone who is young or relatively young, which I think most of the people who are watching this are, don't be quick to put your burdens and problems on people. Make it easy for them to do it. Why? Because you have always been valuable to solving their problems. Solve the problems of kings. You want to become a king? Solve the problems of kings. You remember David? when they needed somebody to play the string instrument so that the evil spirit in Saul will go out. It was the one they thought about. It came in there. We don't even know what the negotiation in terms of reward was. But David was there. When the evil spirit come, David will be playing the string instrument. He'll be doing it nicely and doing all of that. It was solving the problem of kings. From solving the problem of kings, he became a close friend to the prince. That was what's the guy's name now? Huh? He became a friend. Became a friend to the prince. He became a friend to the prince. Sorry, I want to. Yeah, Jonathan. He became a friend to the prince, Jonathan. Okay, when you are solving the problem of the kings, they bring you to their circles, they bring you to their abode. As you draw to their abode, you begin to learn from their wisdom. You begin to listen to their ideologies. You begin to learn from their stories. You begin to grow from the things they say. You begin to advance your life in the way that you go about the things you do. You know why? Because you are solving the problems of kings. The reason why many kings and many kingmakers do not trust you is because you are not solving their problems, but you are only thinking about your throne. You're only thinking about your throne. I've seen a number of people when they come to you, they are telling you, "Oh, this is my problem, and so I need to come and help me do this." They are looking for how to use you to do things for them, but they are not thinking about how to lessen your burden. They are not concerned about what's going on around you, and that's why kings always run away from certain people. That's why kings run away from certain people. Think of some of the great names, some of the amazing people that showed up in your life, some of the great people that tried to help you, some of the people that tried to come around you, some of the people you have met and you had hope they were going to change your life. What problem did you solve for them? All you wanted to do was to get from them. Get from them. Sir, go and do this for me. Sir, I want this to happen. Sir, I need this. Sir, I want you to do this. Sir, I want it. Solve the problems of kings. That's what wise people do. Even some of them may even be nice. They will give you something. They will give you, maybe they'll give you money at the first instance, but you will never get it again. They may help you the first time, but you never get the help the second time. You know why? It's because kings do not love to keep usurpers around them. They are looking for those who can solve their problems. Number 7, show up well in the circle of kings. I spoke about that earlier. Show up well in the circle of kings. When you are invited to a program where you are aware that kings will be there, dress well, smell nice. Did you hear that? Smell nice. Look good. Smell nice, look good. Very important. All right. So I still have like 3 more that I would have mentioned, but for time, I will just stop at number 7. My plan was to share 10 of it. So I will just run through it. Number 1, be sure and deliberate about who you are, that you're a king. Number 2, create value and exhibit excellence in all that you do. Number 3, keep developing yourself intentionally. Number 4, be a positive contributor to your circle. All right. To all the circles around you, be a positive contributor to them. I think I didn't talk too much on that. Number 5, reflect deeply before you comment widely. Number 6, solve the problems of kings and lessen their burdens. Okay, solve the problem of kings, lessen their burdens. Very, very important. Okay, number 8, which I would just give finally, is do not use your kingmakers, invest into them. I think that's very, very simple to understand. Do not use your kingmakers, invest into them. Invest into them. All right. Give to them, honor them, appreciate them at critical moments in their life. Show up at critical seasons in their life. Show up, be there to celebrate them when you have to, be there to appreciate them when you have to. Don't use them. Don't use them. When you are a consistent user, your kingmakers will hate you. Thank you very much, everyone. It has been an amazing time tonight. And I really, really want to appreciate you. If you have questions, please do well to drop in the comments, and I will do well to answer them after now. It's 10 p.m. West African time, and I know a number of people have certain things they want to do later on, but I will leave the replay. I know you've gotten value already, and I know this was worth your time. Was this worth your time? Let me see in the comment section. Was this worth your time? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. It was worth your time. It was worth your time. It was worth your time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm grateful. Thank you so much. All right. We'll see some other time. Talk to you again next week. Next week is going to be a special webinar. Well, Chidi, nice to see you. Chidi, thank you so much for joining. I'm really, really grateful. Nice to see you. Well, we'll be having a session next week. Yeah, we'll be having a session next week. The session is going to be next week. I would announce the session on all my platforms, wherever you go to, I would share. We need to have a section on gaining advantage, gaining adaptive advantage depending on the site. And in that webinar also I'll be using a look at the timing guide. So do well to connect and do well to join. I will share next week is Christmas, so there won't be any webinar, but we'll be having the webinar definitely before the end of the year. So like come your way again, remain phenomenal, keep changing your life, keep making positive impact, and keep doing the things that the world demands of you. Thank you very much, everyone. Share this video, like, drop your comments, and see you when we see. Bye-bye.